My first day at a new job. It was a bright Monday morning when I woke up early. The sun was already shining through my window. I felt nervous but also excited. Today was my first day at a new job. I got out of bed slowly. My heart was beating a little faster than usual. I took a deep breath and smiled to myself. This is a new start, I said quietly. I walked to the bathroom and washed my face. The cold water made me feel awake. I looked at myself in the mirror. I wanted to look confident today even if I didn't feel it yet. After getting dressed, I ate a small breakfast. I didn't feel very hungry because of my nerves. I had some toast and a cup of coffee. The coffee was warm and strong, just how I liked it. I checked my bag to make sure I had everything. Notebook? Check. Pen? Check. Water bottle? Check. Positive attitude? I smiled again. Check. I left my apartment and walked to the bus stop. The street was busy with people going to work. Some looked sleepy. Some looked serious. Some, like me, looked a little nervous. The bus arrived after a few minutes. I got on and found a seat near the window. As the bus moved through the city, I watched people outside. Children were walking to school. Workers were opening shops. Old men were sitting on benches reading newspapers. The city was alive and I was part of it. I arrived at my stop and got off the bus. The office building was tall and shiny. It looked very big to me. I stood in front of it for a moment, just looking up. Okay, let's do this, I whispered to myself. I entered the building. The lobby was large and clean. There were plants near the walls and comfortable chairs. Soft music was playing. At the reception desk, a smiling woman greeted me. Good morning. How can I help you? She asked. I smiled back and said, I'm here for my first day. My name is Anna Lee. Welcome, Anna, she said warmly. Please wait here. Someone will come to get you. I sat down on one of the chairs. I crossed my legs, uncrossed them and crossed them again. I tried to relax, but it was hard. After a few minutes, a young man walked over to me. He was wearing a name tag that said, James. Hi, Anna. I'm James, he said with a friendly smile. I'll show you around and introduce you to everyone. I stood up and followed him. James was very easy to talk to. He told me about the office, the team, and the work. We walked past open offices, meeting rooms, and a small kitchen area. The office was bright and open with big windows. I liked it immediately. We stopped at a row of desks. This will be your desk, James said. It was neat and clean. There was a computer, a phone, and a small plant. The plant made me smile. Let me introduce you to the team, James said. One by one I met my new coworkers. There was Sarah, who worked in marketing. There was Tom, who handled the accounts. And there was Lisa, who managed the office. Everyone was friendly and said, welcome, with big smiles. It made me feel a little more relaxed. After the introductions, James showed me how to log into the computer. He gave me a few papers to read and some tasks to start with. He said, don't worry if you don't know everything yet. Just ask if you need help. I thanked him and sat down at my new desk. The first task was simple. Update some customer information. I typed carefully, checking every detail. I wanted to do everything perfectly. As I worked, I noticed people talking and laughing around me. The office felt alive and comfortable. It wasn't too quiet or too noisy. It felt like a good place to be. At lunchtime, Lisa invited me to eat with the team. We went to a small cafe across the street. I ordered a sandwich and some juice. We sat together and talked about many things. Movies, hobbies, favorite foods. I learned that Sarah loved painting. Tom loved hiking. Lisa loved baking cakes. They asked me about myself too. I told them I liked reading books and playing the guitar. Everyone seemed interested and kind. After lunch, we returned to the office. The afternoon went by quickly. I answered some emails, finished a few small tasks, and learned new systems. At 5 p.m. James came to check on me. "How was your first day?" he asked. I smiled. "It was great. Everyone was so nice." He laughed. "Good. You did really well today." I packed my bag and said goodbye to everyone. They all said, "See you tomorrow." It made me feel like I belonged. Outside, the sun was starting to set. The sky was orange and pink. I felt happy and proud. As I walked to the bus stop, I thought about the day. I had been nervous, but everything had gone well. I had made new friends. I had learned new things. And most of all, I had taken the first step into a new chapter of my life. The bus arrived and I got on. I found a seat and looked out the window. The city lights started to shine. Cars moved along the streets. People hurried home. I leaned back and closed my eyes for a moment. I felt tired, but it was a good kind of tired. Tomorrow would be another day. Another chance to learn, to grow, to become better. I smiled to myself. "My first day," I whispered, "was a good day." After a short break, James asked if I wanted to join a meeting. I nodded quickly. I wanted to learn everything. He led me to a big meeting room. The meeting room was bright and full of chairs. Some people were already inside, talking and laughing. I found a seat near the door and sat down quietly. The meeting started when the manager, Mr. Carter, came in. He smiled at everyone and began to speak. He talked about the goals for the week. He talked about new projects. He talked about how important teamwork was. I listened carefully, trying to understand everything. Sometimes I didn't understand every word. But I focused hard and took notes in my notebook. At one moment, Mr. Carter looked at me and said, "And this is Anna, our new team member. Let's all welcome her." Everyone clapped and smiled at me. I felt my face turn red, but I smiled back and said, "Thank you. I'm happy to be here." After the meeting, people came to me and said hello again. They asked if I had any questions. They said, "If you need anything, just ask." Their kindness made me feel less afraid. Later that afternoon, I had my first small problem. I needed to print some documents. James showed me where the printer was. The printer was big and looked complicated. I put the paper into the tray and pressed the print button. Nothing happened. I waited. Still nothing. I checked the machine. It was making a soft beeping sound. I didn't know what the problem was. I looked around for help. Luckily, Sarah walked by. She saw me and smiled. "First print?" she asked kindly. I laughed a little. "Yes. And I think I broke it." She laughed too and came over. She opened a small door on the side of the printer. Inside there was a paper jam. She pulled the stuck paper out carefully. Then she pressed a button and the machine started working again. "You're a lifesaver," I said, laughing. "Don't worry," Sarah said. "It happens to everyone on their first day." After that, I was more careful with the printer. At around 3 p.m., James suggested a small tour of the building. We took the elevator to the rooftop garden. The rooftop was beautiful. There were flowers, small trees, and wooden benches. Some workers were sitting there drinking coffee and talking. "You can come up here anytime you need a break," James said. I loved the idea. The air was fresh and the view of the city was amazing. I promised myself I would come here often. We walked down to the second floor. There was a gym for employees. It was small but clean and had everything: treadmills, bikes, and even yoga mats. "There are free classes sometimes," James said. "Yoga on Tuesdays, Zumba on Thursdays." I smiled. Maybe I would try a class one day. We also visited the cafeteria. It was bright and cozy. There were tables, chairs, and even a small library corner. People were drinking coffee, working on laptops, and chatting. There were posters on the walls with messages like, "Stay positive," "Dream big," "Work hard, be kind." I loved the atmosphere. When we returned to the office, I had a few emails to answer. Some customers asked simple questions. I read each email carefully and replied politely. James checked my answers and said, Good job, Anna. You write very clearly. That made me feel proud. Later, when I went to the kitchen to refill my water bottle, I met Tom. He was making tea. Hey, Anna, he said. How's your first day? It's good, I said. A little bit overwhelming, but good. Tom smiled. It's normal. I felt the same on my first day too. He told me a funny story about how he had gotten lost on his first day. He had gone to the wrong floor and walked into the wrong office. We both laughed. Talking to Tom made me feel even more relaxed. By 4:30 p.m. the office started to get a little quieter. People were finishing their tasks. Some were planning for the next day. Some were chatting about evening plans. I made a short to-do list for tomorrow. Finish customer updates. Learn the phone system. Try to remember more coworker names. I loved making lists. They helped me feel organized. Before I left, Lisa came by my desk. She gave me a small notebook with the company's logo on it. Welcome gift, she said with a big smile. I thanked her warmly. The notebook was beautiful. The cover said, "Every day is a new beginning." It felt perfect. When I finally left the office, the sky was darker. The lights of the city sparkled everywhere. I stood outside the building for a moment looking up at the stars. I felt so many things. Tired but happy. Nervous but hopeful. Small but ready for big things. I got on the bus and watched the city pass by. I thought about tomorrow. Maybe it would be a little easier. Maybe I would make a new friend. Maybe I would learn something amazing. I didn't know yet. But I knew one thing. I had survived my first day. And that was enough for now. When I got home, I changed into comfortable clothes. I made a simple dinner. Noodles with vegetables. As I ate, I thought about my coworkers. Sarah's smile. Tom's funny story. James's patience. Lisa's kindness. I felt grateful. After dinner, I wrote in my journal. Today was my first day at my new job. I was scared, but everyone was kind. I hope I can do well. I hope I can grow here. I will try my best. I closed the journal and got ready for bed. As I lay down, I thought about the day again. It wasn't perfect. I made small mistakes. I got nervous. I forgot some names. But it was a good start. And tomorrow would be another beginning. I smiled in the dark. Then I closed my eyes and fell into a deep, peaceful sleep.